Hey, what's up? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this League of Legends LPL and LCK 4-game slate on Saturday, June 20th. We got a 4-game slate, practically what we've been having these last couple days. So it's nice, good slate. Good matches today. Some tight matches, but some big gap matches as well. But before I get started, if you could like, subscribe, comment, I really do appreciate it. Almost at 200 subscribers. Let's get to it. So yesterday went pretty good. I went 3-1 with my picks to win. My top stack played pretty solid. So it wasn't a bad slate. I was able to make cash yesterday, so that's all we really want to do. Can't go broke making a profit. So that's really that with that today. I think that puts me at 24 and 12 on the season as far as picks. So about, pretty good odds. Getting my picks right for the most part. Other than that sloppy start the day before. But yeah, got good slates. We got a Freak of Freaks versus Team Dynamics. And then we got DMO versus OMG, LGD versus Top Esports, and T1 versus HLE. I haven't even... Let's refresh these. Haven't looked at them on here yet, but I'm pretty sure, my opinion, I can already know who the favorites are. So you got a Freak of Freaks, Team Dynamics. A Freak of Freaks favorited. I do like a Freak of Freaks in that matchup. Dynamics did upset KT Rolster, but I still think a Freak of Freaks is a little better. I think Dynamics will be like the highest owned underdog on the slate, in my opinion, just because the match is close and what they did to KT last game out. So I might just fade that just due to the fact that I think they will be the highest owned underdogs, and I like to play GPP, so I like to be a little different than other people. I do like the Freak of Freak side, though, for sure. And then in that next matchup, T1 versus HLE, I do like T1. HLE is big underdogs. They did just lose their first match of the season. Their bot lane looked really good with Viper down there. He's a stud down there. Probably one of the best AD carries in the world, in my opinion. But T1 is just a world-class team, and I think that they'll just be outmatched in that matchup. And then you go over to the LPL. You got Dominus Esports versus OMG. Dominus Esports, both of these teams haven't been that good that season, but I think OMG will win just due to their talent, so I'm picking OMG in that one. LGD versus Top Esports. Odds are pretty tighter than I would have expected. LGD's not a bad team. I mean, they're undefeated this season, if I remember correctly. And Top Esports is the best team in the world. I mean, they did drop a game to OMG last time out. And LGD is better than OMG if you want to think that they could pull off the upset. But I will be sticking with Top Esports. Like I mentioned, we don't have the starting lineups for this game today for the LCK till about an hour before. But, I mean, each of these teams have played one game, so we can kind of predict who they're going to be starting unless they make a sub. But that's the thing with LCK. You never know. So we got LGD and we got Top Esports. Here are the starting lineups. Nothing changed. They remain the exact same. And then DMO and OMG, the only ones that did changes are DMO. They swapped out their AD carry and their top laner. So they got two different AD carries with experience, but I think they are going to be outclassed in their matchups. So I'm going to try to do what I did yesterday, go through game by game. You got top, Keen versus Rich in this first matchup. I like Keen in that matchup. It looked solid. Rich played good in his first match. Don't get me wrong. He dominated Sohwan in the top lane. 94 fantasy points is just absurd for a top laner. But Keen is better than Sohwan. So I do like Keen. I don't think he'll be able to do that to him in that matchup. This match might be won in the top lane, though. But I don't think Rich will be able to bully Keen like he did. That's one guy I would like to stack around if I am playing a Freak of Freaks. For sure, Keen is solid up there in that top lane. So I do like him. Another guy I like for a Freak of Freaks is their AD carry Mystic. One guy I would be focusing on in that lane. I think they have the better bot lane just due to Mystic. He's a key piece. Him and Keen will probably be my two favorite plays, and I don't mind the team stack in this specific game. If you are playing someone from Dynamics, their jungler is a little tighter matchup. I think Beyond is about in the same level as Spirit, so I think that's somewhere that Beyond, that Dynamics can thrive off of and take advantage of. And then maybe just the team if you really do think they're going to win. But that's not really nothing I'm looking forward to. But I do think a Freak of Freaks will win, so that's something I would look at playing them instead of the other side. And then as far as the next game, you got DMO and OMG. I do like OMG in this matchup, like I did mention. OMG looked pretty solid in their last two games versus Top Esports like a couple days ago. They look solid. in that matchup. And it all kind of starts with like their mid laner and their AD carry with Smiles, SMLZ, and Icon. Just kind of starts with how they come up. They like to funnel a lot of their gold and everything into their bot lane to SMLZ. So if they do win, it's usually going to be thanks to him. I mean, he had 82 fantasy points and 71 fantasy points in 2 of their losses that they lost 2-1. So it usually comes down to them. So those are the 2 key pieces I would be playing if I am going to be playing that. I do like the OMG. I think they'll go a little overlooked because Top Esports is on the slate and T1. So that's somewhere that I would look at. I mean, and pairing up Cold down there in the bot lane is not a bad idea for sure. Which I think he is starting, correct? Let me make sure. Yeah, Cold is starting. Okay. That's really all I'm really looking at. If I am going to be playing anyone from DMO, I would be looking at Xiao Peng. Showing pretty decent upside. I mean, only 24 fantasy points per game. But even going into last split, he was one of their like few good spots, I guess you could say. And then Zubin at the AD carry position. Just because no one knows much about him, I think you can have a leverage on him. People might not just play him if you are going to play the DMO side. But I do prefer the OMG side in that matchup. And then we got LGD versus TES. Obviously, this is my favorite stack on the slate. I like pairing up Jackie Love with Knight in this matchup. And then either 369 or Karsa. I mean, you can kind of go all the way across the board and just stack these 4 guys. I think they're a good solid core, and maybe even going with a cheaper stack like OMG or Freak of Freaks. But just stuff like that. I do like, obviously, we all know how good Knight is. I mean, Knight's one of the best players in the world. 7.8K, 105 fantasy points per game is just absurd. And then you got Jackie Love. Or if you want to be different, you don't play them both, and you just try to get that leverage on it and hope that Knight shines brighter than Jackie Love, or Jackie Love shines brighter than Knight. And then you got Jungle. These are the key 3 pieces I would focus on if I am playing a stack with these guys. If I'm doing a 4-man stack or a 3-man stack. Karsa at the jungle position, just been solid. 85 fantasy points per game. Can't complain. If you are going to be playing anyone from the other team, I would recommend playing Peanut. Peanut's like my favorite player on their team, so, and I think he has decent upside at his position. I mean, that's why he's the 4th highest jungler on the game, and he's not even a favorite, which is crazy. Just good upside, 73.7 fantasy points per game. And then you got T1 versus HLE, which is in a bad matchup. I like the matchup, but I do think T1 will just kind of steamroll over HLE. But if anyone is playing an HLE that shows up, it will be Viper. Viper's their best player. Had 101 fantasy points last time out. Just insane in the loss. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Teddy, because I do like Teddy. I think Teddy's one of the best AD carries in the world. If I am going to be playing him, a carry from that team, I do recommend playing Teddy over Faker. Faker's just hasn't been himself, honestly, in a while. And if you don't want to play that later game, but I do think that's their starting lineup. I think they stick with the same starting lineup that they've had. I don't see why they would switch it up. But Teddy and then Kana at the top lane, I don't mind either one of those guys in the top lane, and then just even the team stack if you want to be really safe, because I do think they'll win. But they are, if I believe, they are the most expensive team on the slate. But this is kind of what my core would look like right there. Just Karsa, Knight, and Jackie Love. Obviously, I think they'll be the highest owned, so it just kind of depends what you're playing. If you're playing like cash, I would recommend playing a 4-man stack of TES. If you want to be different, maybe just do like a 3-man stack with them and then mix them in with either like a Freak or Freaks or OMG, because I think T1 will be the next highest owned stack. The LCK's teams have been in the optimal lineups the last 2 days, so don't think that the LCK is not coming to play this split. But yeah, that's really it. Let's hope we can go 4-0 on these picks. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.